All right.
I had one the other day that was like it was like really dark brown, but the other half was like lighter brown. But there's the corn ones, so you can like accent it with the corn, or you can just get the green ones too, like the forest green, or like a sap green. You know what I mean?
Yo, I just thought of something. Eat the blue chips from Fajita Grill and a bunch of corn.
And corn, yeah. That would be the sweetest looking dump ever.
It'd be green and yellow.
Wow. What? It would be like a Packers dump. That'd be so sick.
I remember it once when I was younger, I pooped and it was like long and white and it was weird and I don't remember what I ate. I'm pretty sure it was like sugar cookies
white,
or
like
something.
a bird.
It was like bleached white, yeah.
I've never pooped white. I pooped blue.
Yeah.
I've had blue poop.
I've had many shades of brown, but no white.
You know those really shitty sugar cookies?
I would have saved that one.
Yeah, you should have held on to that.
Lick that white dog turd.
You did, like, that's something you put like where nobody's gonna find it, but you'd be like, "Yo, I pooped a white poop once. I'm gonna if I ever poop a white poop, I'm saving it."
Yeah, you gotta hold on to that. Put that in some Tupperware or something.
I'll put it in like a little box and like a little plastic box sealed away, and
put it in like one of those.
Give it to my
jars.
grandkids.
I love how we talked about like Pink Floyd and like got into actual stuff.
I don't even
off
know
the
how
podcast.
we got into poop.
And then we got into because we were talking about corn.
Oh yeah.
Band.
And then it turned into actual corn.
Why we like corn, and then it turned into poop corn.
Yeah.
And then it turned into Fajita Grill green poop, and then we talked about the Packers poop.
I feel like most corn conversations turn into poop conversations because it's one of the few things that it comes out nicely. It comes out like in full form when you number two it out.
Yeah. It's one of the only things I know of.
Yeah. It's a shame that more things don't do that.
Shame.
Change the color of your poop?
Yeah. No, come out like full.
Yeah, like why can't I just eat like
the way they go
peas and they come out green?
Yeah.
Like that.
It would be like such a good way to like decorate your turds.
Wow. Like when you eat the peas and carrots and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys like beets?
I like digestion though. That's always nice.
Yeah, that's good for your body.
Beets, no, not actually. Not really. Not a beets person.
Same. Tell that to Dwight K. Schrute.
You want to fucking do
a
it
beet
later?
farm.
I'm gonna I don't like beets either, man.
Like the food or like
both of them. I hate everything related to beets, man.
Jesus. The power of Christ compels you.
Leave it alone. Leave me alone. Leave it alone. Leave me alone. I hate beets, dude. Don't bring them up ever again.
Okay, so let's go back into.
Okay, yeah.
Oh
so,
my God, what is that? You just put it up through the middle of that.
Yeah,
for some
see,
reason.
check it. It's like a
whoop.
So unnecessary.
So I ate breakfast after jamming with these people and my dad and stuff like that. After I
towel.
Yep. And kept on skating down the road, and it's getting more and more cornfields, and it's getting more and more flat. I'm in tornado country, and honestly, I'm scared. Like a tornado in the back of my mind is scary because
cornfields are fucking scary.
Yeah, and
you
also
walk through it, and it's just a baseball field of dreams style.
Everything is flooded still, so all the ditches like on the side of the road are filled with like 3-4 feet of water. So I'm like thinking like, okay, if there's a tornado, if I get into that ditch with all the water, I wonder if it will keep me in there better or protect me better since I'm in a ditch like they tell you to do already. If it's filled with water, is that better? Is that worse? I think it's better, but I'm thinking it would be harder to suck me out of the water.
Probably.
Like, if a tornado was right there compared to like if there wasn't any water in there.
Yeah. The key is to just get inside the eye of the storm and just stay with it.
Just going this way. It's going this way.
Just hauling ass.
And I get to this road where Route 66 actually crosses the road that I'm on, and it's kind of a truck stop and stuff like that. I start asking around town if I could start camping around there, and nobody says yes. So I go to a Subway, and I eat there, and the Subway's connected to the truck stop. And it starts getting late, and I just asked one of the Subway workers if they knew a place I could camp, and she's like, yeah, you could stay at my house. And she ends up driving me. I thought she lived in the town there, and so I get in her car. She ends up driving me like 25 miles down the road, which was like kind of like, oh, cool. Like almost a half a day for me the next day.
Yeah.
So you didn't really skateboard across America. You kind of...
I mean, you fudged it a little.
Dude.
Like 20 miles here, 20 miles there. But like, it was more like I thought they were just driving me to their house, and then they kind of like gave me the extra 20 miles. Like, oh, cool.
Yeah,
well,
it's an added bonus.
Yeah. They let me stay at their house, and I set up a tent in their backyard, and she starts smoking me up, and she tells me that her boyfriend doesn't really want her smoking weed or whatever. And he gets home from work, and she texted him earlier being like, all right, honey, when you get home, don't be mad. And so he's just like, what the fuck? What am I fucking coming home to? Like, and he sees me sitting on the front porch with her, and he's just like already biting his tongue.
Butt naked.
And freaking, I'm telling him my spiel, and as soon as I tell him my name is Cassidy, he starts laughing. And he goes, wait, your name's Cassidy? Okay. He's like laughing. And like then I tell him like that I'm skating across the country, and I told him it to him pretty quick. Like the first time, he didn't really hear me that much, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna go pass out in the tent, and I went into the tent, and it's dark out, and I hear somebody pull into the driveway, and then go into the house, and then the boyfriend comes out. And his name's Clint, and he goes, hey, Cassidy, you want to come in and smoke? And I'm like, she told me earlier that he doesn't like weed or whatever. So this might be just a plan for them to be like, I don't really feel like
it's a trap.
I don't feel like you camping here tonight. Could you like camp somewhere else or something like that? So I'm like, I'm just going to say that I'm sleeping or say that I'm just too tired. I'm just going to stay here. So, you know, like, I don't want to have to move my tent or whatever. That was just what was going through my mind. And I wake up the next day, and it was their cousin who came over, and her cousin wanted to smoke me up. So I woke up the next day, and they're like, oh, we wanted to smoke you up last night, and blah, blah, blah. And I ended up staying there for the day, and because it was raining still. And stayed there another night, woke up the next day. And I went down about like 25 miles down the road, and I made it to this town. I
love the smell.
He just smells the
Nevada. And I stop at this Italian restaurant, and it was an all-you-can-eat Italian buffet. I've never been to one of those. It was fucking cool.
That's dope.
And
was it just like pasta and stuff?
Yeah.
That's fucking awesome.
And I start talking to the owner there, and he lets me camp out in the back. And I set up my tent, and it just starts raining. And I just fall asleep in my tent. Oh, and mind you, since that whole thing happened in Walmart, and I bought a new tent, my old tent was like 7x6, and I'm 6'1". My new tent is frickin' 5x5. So the diagonal, I'm sleeping diagonal, and like my head is touching this side, my feet are touching the side. And it was the only one that was like the right size. The other ones were all like 8x8s and stuff like that, which is too big to fit in my backpack.
Mm-hmm. You can always try and go fetal position.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's always uncomfortable as fuck, though. You could have done that on the
I always lay on my belly, though.
Oh. Still could do it.
Yeah. And so I end up camping out there, and I wake up the next morning. One of the girls that was working at the Italian place, she goes, "Hey," and it was still pouring out. She's like, "Hey, you want to come over and have breakfast at my place?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." And I leave my tent there. They pick me up. They drive me to their house, and they had horses and a bunch of dogs, and they also had a raccoon. And they got this baby raccoon at the same time their dog had puppies, so the raccoon was acting like one of the puppies, nursing off the mama dog, and it was like in the couch, like on the side, like there was like a place where you could see where it bulged out, and it dug up under the couch, and it had its own spot, and it didn't come out till like 3 or 4 o'clock. And once it came out, it was the cutest thing, standing on its back paws. I was handing it crackers, and it would take it with both of its front paws and start eating it, like nibbling, turning it. And all the puppies would swarm it, take it out of its hands, and then it'd look at me like, "Can I have another one?" It was so cute. And like, also like, there was another couch across from me where I was, and it like got on the couch, and it was acting like a cat, and it ran across the couch and grabbed the back of the couch. Its back legs swung out back, and then it was like behind the couch, but only its head was like looking around, just like looking at me like, and it was adorable. They let me stay there that night because it was raining all day, and it was good because I was pretty tired at this point, and they fed me a bunch of good food. It was really good. And the craziest thing was that this lady, like, I'm there and she's sitting next to me, and she starts having, like, I'm in mid conversation with her, and she starts having a seizure, and her daughter goes up, "Mom, Mom," and like she comes back, and then nobody's really kind of saying anything, and then the mom comes back, and she's like, "Oh, here, I'll tell you what happened. Frickin' one day I was working at this convenience store or something like that, and this guy was on drugs, and he frickin' took me while I was working, put me into my Jeep, and drove me down the road, beat my head in with like a lead pipe or a pipe or something like that, raped me, fucking then took my Jeep, and it was raining, took my Jeep and ran over my head, and the only reason why I survived was because it was muddy and her head sunk into the ground, and also he beat her head in so many times, like with the pipe, that her like brain was bleeding and her brain like swelled up, and he actually saved her life by running over her head, and it like compressed it all somehow. So like,
Christ.
yeah, it was fucking ridiculous. And like, they didn't know who it was, like, for the longest time, and like they had an idea who it was but couldn't really prove it. She was like found at like 9 a.m. the next day, and like now she just has like seizures and stuff like that. But the most fucked up thing was like the whole, from her telling me the story, was like the whole judicial system of how much she's been fucked, like how much, like, in a sense, like, she has, like, now, like, she has to go out and pay money for certain things that she, like, because of all that happened, and like, there should be more government assistance, especially when there's certain cases like that.
Yeah,
where, like,
I feel like
it's something that somebody inflicts upon you. That should be your responsibility.
I feel like if you get run over intentionally in your head by a vehicle,
you should be set for life, probably.
You should probably have some kind of compensation instead of a financial burden for the rest of your life.
Yep, and that's what I saw, and I was just amazed listening to this story. I felt so bad for these people, of like, they fucking pretty much didn't do anything, and then like,
thanks, Obama.
But the thing was, she didn't have any hate towards the guy. She's just like, if he gets out, I'm not gonna have anybody go up and beat him up or anything like that. I just feel sorry for him and stuff like that.
I'll be ready next time. She'll wear a helmet.
Yeah. She just always wears a helmet.
And
that can withstand cars.
I go back, get my whole tent set up or packed up after stay at their house, and I get taken off eat at I think it was like a Carl's Jr. or something like that.
Was it a Carl's Jr. or was it a Hardee's?
It was either one of those. It was both pretty much the same thing.
Are they the same thing?
They're the
like,
same
what the
thing.
fuck is
They're the
the
same
why
thing.
do they call them different things then?
Trademark.
It's like left Twix and right Twix.
Something to do with like because Whataburger and In-N-Out are the same thing, and same with Hellman's mayonnaise. Hellman's mayonnaise is
They're the same thing, really?
yeah.
What I thought In-N-Out was like West Coast only, and then
Whataburger's down south. I guess they're the same idea, but like Hellman's mayonnaise is like the whole Hellman's brand on the West Coast is like a different. It's the same label and everything, but it's a different name on it. I don't know.
everybody
It's something
talks
to do-
about how great In-N-Out is on the West Coast.
Well, Five Guys is like In-N-Out or Whataburger or something. Five Guys is fantastic.
I wish we had an In-N-Out. I just want to try it. I don't want to go to the West Coast to try it.
I think I'm going to go to Groffalo's on the way home and buy a bunch of half-pound Hot Pockets.
Half-pound Hot Pockets. Wow.
I'm at that point, man.
I'm getting hungry too. We can figure something out. We go
Get some
pizza.
half-pound Hot Pockets.
I'll go with you for pizza, man.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Fuck yeah. Villa? Is Villa your guys' favorite in town?
Any place. The only place I can't do is Cam's.
Okay.
It's
Yeah, they're expensive.
That's the
way
only
expensive.
problem. Is
It's covered with
expensive as fuck.
flour a lot.
Yeah, it is. You're like,
Bridge
I'm
Street's
going to
good.
have some pizza, but I'm wearing all black. So I'm fine. They're like, you want a slice of cheese pizza? That'll be $3.50. Thanks.
Like, damn, I could buy half a pizza
Yeah.
for that.
It's embarrassing. And then you're like, you don't have napkins, so naturally you wipe it on your black pants and black
Yep.
t-shirt and black face.
So I cross this
Oh, country road.
I cross this bridge after I get out of this town, after I eat at the Hardee's or Carl's Jr. or whatever, and keep on going down the road, and I eventually get to this town, Mount Sterling, and I kind of looking around, and I can't really find anywhere to camp, and so I went to the police station and I asked them if there's anywhere I could camp, and they tell me about these campgrounds. They give me these directions, and I try to follow the directions, but I actually ended up taking a wrong turn, and not so. I ended up just kind of knocking on some houses, and they ended up saying no, that I couldn't stay there. So I go back into the center of town, and there's this like kind of fancy restaurant, and I was like, yeah, you know what? I'll go there. What the hell? I go there and I get in line behind these people, and they ask me like, whoa, what are you doing? Why do you got this big backpack on? And I tell them, and they're like, oh, you could eat with us if you want. They ended up paying for my meal, and it was two different couples. It was really cool. So I got to eat at a really fancy restaurant there, and they just got done doing like a wine tour around there or something. And then I go back down the road. I was trying to find out where that campground is again, and I see these two guys hanging out in a truck, and I go up and I ask them like, hey, could I camp out anywhere around here? And guy says, yeah, you can camp out right in my lawn right here. And end up camping out there, and next day I wake up to him being like, hey, you should take down your stuff. You can just bring your tent in the garage. There's a rainstorm coming. You should come on inside. And I go inside, and they give me breakfast, and it ended up raining again all that day, so I ended up chilling there. And it was this older couple. They had a grandson who they had custody over, and his name I think was Nicholas. And they go to show me after I'm done eating breakfast. They show me their grandson Nicholas, and they're like, yeah, blah blah blah, like his mom was a crackhead and blah 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 blah, didn't really take care of him. She only fed him ramen noodles for the first blank years of his life. And I'm already like, I think she said like 5 years of his life or something like that.
That's a good move. It's good for your development.
And they're like, how old do you think he is? I'm like 6, 7 years old or so. Kid like this tall.
Was he like 15 or something?
He was like 13.
Oh, he's like Andy Milonakis.
And
How old's Andy Milonakis?
He's in his
probably.
40s, dude.
He's still as
and
tall. He's
yeah,
like
that was
still
the
this
thing.
tall.
Like, he didn't get the right nutrients when he was a kid, and his mom sold like all his dad passed away when he was young, and his mom sold all the his dad's action figures and anime collectibles and stuff like that. And so like his grandparents have been slowly like trying to save up for him to slowly get these collectibles back that reminds him of his dad and stuff. And he played video games. I got to play some Lord of the Rings video games with him, so that was pretty cool. And later that night,
the only one I ever played was the Two Towers, and I heard that
one's
one was
brutal.
really
That's the
good.
best one.
Because I like barely played it, and like
That-
I remember it being good.
That one, oh fuck. The last 3 missions where you start off and it's the Helm's Deep, the first one, but then the second one is the breached wall. That's the
so tough.
Oh my god, yup. And then the final mission where you have to fight all the trolls and shit, and then you have to fight what's the guy with the thing on his with the handprint? Lurtz. Yep. You have to fight him at the very end.
I should play that again.
Yeah, that game is fantastic. The Return of the King one is fun,
but it's not as
but it's not as hard. No.
Yeah, I remember playing it at like my friend's house.
Yeah.
But 1 player, 2 towers is where it's
then
at.
With Return of the King, couldn't you beat it? If you beat the mission, you could do it as like a different character, right?
Yes.
You could do like Frodo's levels as Gandalf or something if you beat the game. Yep. Yeah. I just remember being a kid playing the Two Towers one. And
you gotta see the movies first, though.
I know, yeah.
Yeah, you do have to do that too.
Isn't Shadow of Mordor in that universe?
Kind of. It's
like an offshoot.
They got the lore wrong, but it's still kind of cool.
I liked Shadow of Mordor. It just got just boring.
Repetitive.
Like, you kept doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Have you played Conquest?
Yeah.
That one was fucking cool.
It's like Battleground or Battlefront.
The Star Wars. You ever play that one, Seth? Yes, like remember the old Star Wars Battlefront games where you had like the regular soldier, the scout, the heavy,
classes.
and then like the support. Yeah. That was Lord of the Rings Conquest. It was maybe the same guy.
They had like an archer, a mage, a warrior, and a scout.
Yep, that one was fucking sweet.
That is fun. It doesn't have too much storyline, but it's got like.
I remember if you beat the game as the good guys, you could start the game and play as fucking the bad guys. Yep. And you could like take over Middle Earth, and that was fucking crazy. You have to like. It is fun. You do a mission, you have to like kill Aragorn or something, and that one was fucking crazy.
Fucking Okay.
But yeah, so continue.
They actually gave me the guy that was letting me camp there. After I played video games with Christopher, I think his name was, or something.
I think so. He seems like a Christopher, so.
And they gave me some bass that he caught himself, and so I hadn't had fried bass in a long time, years and years.
I thought you said baths. So bass, okay. Gotcha.
And next day I go and I make it to the end of Illinois and Quincy, and I start to go into Missouri, and right before I can see Missouri and I can see the river, and there's 2 bridges, and I ask like, hey, how can I get over this bridge? And they're like, oh, it's illegal to walk or for pedestrians to be on the bridge. So I just go right up to a cop and I tell him what I'm doing, and he's like, oh, yeah, sure, hang on, let me just call the station and ask. And calls down, asks the station, he transports me across the river to Missouri. So my first night in Illinois, I got put in a cop car, and I get transported out of Illinois in a cop car. It was literally just only over the bridge, and he dropped me off on the other side. And I go there, eat at a Subway, and then I just start going down the road. And then I go another about 25 miles, and I make it to Hannibal, Missouri. And that's where Mark Twain is from, the Huckleberry Finn and Tom's Travels or whatever.
Did you ever see that? What the fuck is it called?
Traveling Twain.
There's something, Adventures of Mark Twain, or something. It was like a children's show, but it was super fucking weird, like wicked fucking sketchy. Oh man, dude, I gotta watch that now because it was so fucked up. It's like, it's supposed to be a kid's show, but it's like this
It was like
weird,
surreal
like
or something.
claymation kind of thing.
Huh. Weird.
It's like one of the creepiest things I've seen.
So, like, I get to this Hannibal, Missouri, and I go to a fire station, and I ask if they know any place I could camp. And they tell me to go down to the police station. And as I'm skating down to the police station, I see this, like, really cool bank that I want to ride. So I ride up it, and my backpack, like, kind of swings around. Oh, that is really weird.
Yeah, and I don't know why I can't pause it. You're going to have to do it.
To it.
I do kind of remember that. The mysterious stranger.
Dude, it's so fucking weird.
But I end up falling a little bit, and I don't get hurt too bad or anything. But I just end up falling. I go down to the police station, and they tell me they call this homeless house, they call it the Hope House, ask if I could go there for the night. And I actually asked the police station, I was like, can I just stay in a cell or something like that for the night? Like, that'd be a cool story.
Mm-hmm.
But
they couldn't do that.
Yeah. And
you should have just hit one of them.
You should have just got drunk and got thrown in the drunk tank.
Yeah.
And
that's like, why didn't you just do that instead of asking random people? Just get thrown in the drunk tank every night.
That would be funny.
Cass Barney drunk tanks across America.
And I get
the drunk tank.
I get to I have a hard time finding this Hope House, but I eventually find it and get inside there. And there's like the downstairs is for women, the upstairs is for men, and they're all bunk beds. And the lady who owns the house, she goes there, and the guy that's kind of like running it, he's also homeless, but he's kind of like the lead guy, like having people sign in and stuff like that, telling me the rules. He has me come out and help with all the groceries that the lady who owns the house is dropping off, like that were donated or whatever. We fill the cabinets, and he's like, oh, yeah, let's make some food. And he makes me some pasta and stuff like that.
Ramen noodles.
And I start eating and stuff like that, and he starts telling me about Jesus and stuff like that, and like why he thinks I'm there for him to tell me about Jesus. And I was like, I kind of threw him a curveball with like, okay, so if God created everything, then he also created the devil. And then if God is perfect, wouldn't he like eventually at some point have everything come back to him? Like,
yeah, I think
ultimate
we talked
forgiveness.
About this,
yeah.
A little bit.
And like, so I got him to kind of like, he was actually like, oh wow, I never thought of it like that way. So
yeah,
I was kind of fucking with his mind in a certain sense. And I wake up the next. I was pretty sketched out because I was sleeping with a bunch of homeless people, pretty much.
Yeah, they're moderately homeless, somewhat homeless. And
I set up my bag, like I literally put the zippers like a certain way, so if my bag's fucked with, I know.
Yeah.
Or I sleep with my wallet on me, like sleeping with everything.
Yeah, it's like that 70s show where Red put the hair over the ignition of the car so he knew if Eric was going to take the car.
Yep, exactly, like stuff like that. Yeah.
He put a hair over the ignition so that he knew that Eric was gonna, like, if Eric took the car,
like a piece of hair.
Yeah, like a little one hair.
It's actually a real, like, it really works, especially if you have a room that isn't like put
windy.
A piece of hair on it.
Yeah,
yeah. But wake up the next day, and I never been to a Golden Corral before. I always remembered.
I talked about going to Golden Corral the other day.
I just remembered seeing a commercial and then like a kid putting gummy bears on his mashed potatoes and stuff like that.
That's the life.
So I got to eat there, and it was, it was pretty cool. I had a buffet, and
yeah, it's like it's nothing spectacular, but the options.
Yeah,
it's quantity over quality for sure. At Golden Corral.
I got to charge my phone there, and got going. And now I'm on Route 33, and Route 33 is pretty busy. I got cars going 55, 60 miles an hour, and I got a good-sized shoulder, but It's kind of rough. It's got a bunch of pebbles on it.
This
and
is
stuff.
Missouri?
Yeah, now I'm in Missouri. This is first day.
You're almost there.
Yep. There we go.
I imagine a lot of the shoulders of the road are pretty rough in
Littered
the first
with
place.
pebbles, yeah.
Yeah.
And I make it to Shelbina. I get about like 30 miles down the road, maybe about 40. And I stop at this gas station, and I'm just eating pieces of pizza from the gas station. And I'm kind of like, I have my map out because I kind of have a certain way of, if I have my map out and I'm sitting at like a gas station or whatever, people will come up and ask me what I'm doing, especially if I have my big backpack. If I don't have the map open, people just think I'm homeless and that I'm just sitting there. So if I have the map open and acting, even though I know these routes like the back of my hand, because that's what I've been looking at for the past few days.
Right.
Frickin', I'm acting like I'm looking at it.
Yeah,
so,
most homeless people don't have atlases.
Yeah. And
Atli.
Yeah.
this lady comes up and is like, "Oh, I'll get you a campground," and like, but it's raining, and then she drops me off at a hotel, and I got to stay there for a night. So that was cool. That was the first time I got to stay in a hotel, and I got to stay in it for free because the lady. So first real bed, from a hotel of the trip, and I'm in the hotel room, and fucking there's a bunch of ticks on me. Yeah, so I'm freaking out, like, yeah. And honestly, for the rest of Missouri, there's so many ticks. I didn't get bit by any, but I kept flicking so many off of me. Like, I was just in the middle of a big field, like, with a road going through it.
So it wasn't fucking, like, bed bugs or something then?
No, it was ticks, yeah.
They can fly, can't they?
I don't think so.
They
think they
shouldn't
can
be
jump.
able to.
Yeah.
I'd be fucking done with life if the ticks could fly.
And next day, wake up early, and I get a good distance all the way to Chillicothe.
Chitticothe?
Chillicothe.
Okay.
And I get there, and I stop at a Taco Bell, start eating, and I go up the road, and there's this a mechanic shop, and I asked if there's anyone that knows where I could camp. And this guy goes, "Oh, my church, they should let you." And he contacted the pastor and said that I could stay there. I go to the church, knock on the door, and I go in, and there's people doing like a choir. And as soon as the choir people leave, like, well, one of the people in the choir as well, they were like, "Oh yeah, I'm sure the pastor would let you stay here. Yeah, you can just camp out in the basketball court." And then after they leave, a bunch of like video gamers come, and they were playing like Call of Duty. They all brought their systems and stuff like that. It was all part of the church. And they were there till like midnight. And it gets to be about midnight, and I already had all my bedding and stuff set up, and I already told the guy that was running it, like, "Yeah, talk to the pastor." He calls the pastor, and apparently the pastor didn't want me sleeping in the church. He wanted me outside of the church.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have any lawn anywhere, so it was like, I'm not setting up on a sidewalk. So
Right.
the guy's like, "Oh, you can't camp here anymore." And I'm like, "Damn, I wish you would have told me this like sooner." So I'm kind of like, fuck. I'm rolling up my stuff. And he's like, "Here, come on, man, I'll get you a hotel room." So he gets me a hotel room the next night. So that was really cool.
What church is this where they're having like LAN parties? Like, that's fucking dope. I would go to church every week if it was a Halo 3 LAN party. Like,
Yeah.
Church of Machinima.
It was pretty cool. Like I didn't really play with them, but it was pretty cool.
That's what I should do for my birthday. We should do a Halo 3 LAN party. Do we have enough 360s? Do you have one still?
I got one.
Xbox 360? That'd be fucking dope. I know Krusty S has one.
Well, we have Master Chief Collection. You can do 4-player.
You could do
on
that,
though.
yeah. Yeah, that's true. I would love to do that'd be so sick.
2 4-player screens.
Yeah.
In
Or
here,
just-
though? Or at church?
I think
This would be a tight squeeze
we probably
here.
should just rent out a church, yeah.
This would be a tight squeeze.
Freaking. So I'm going down the road, and
We should do that, though.
I find an American flag on the side of the road, and it's about. Yeah, I think tomorrow. Yeah, the next day is the 4th of July. So I'm like, cool. I'll put an American flag on my backpack, And
So you're talking, this is around the 3rd of July.
Yep. I didn't. And I am going down the road, and I get to this restaurant, and these people, they like pull over and they ask me what I'm doing, and I tell them, and they're like, well, if you're still here later tonight, you can stay at my place. We're going down to Kansas City, and we'll be back in a little bit. And Kansas City's about an hour from where I'm at, a drive. And I'm like, oh, yeah, sure. So I stay at this restaurant, and I just kind of like eat up. And one of the waitresses at the restaurant, she offers to let me stay at her house. And as soon as she does, like, the guy who saw me earlier comes back into the restaurant, and he's like, all right, you ready to go, man? And he drives me back to his house, so I end up going back about like 20 miles or so, and he lets me stay at his house. And they were really cool. Will and Alicia, they just worked on a farm. It was a dude about my age, and like, I don't know, he's just really friendly, and like they had some giant bugs around their house. But
I gotta say, I'm impressed with the fact that you remember everybody's name. Like I would, dude. As soon as I meet somebody, I forget their name. They're like, "Hey, I'm Joe," and then I tell them what my name is, and I shake their hand, and then I forgot their name.
Facebook helps. I'll be honest. Like, one you friend request somebody, and you're like, "Oh," yeah, and then you see their name scrolling through Facebook, and I'm friends with these people now on Facebook, and in contact with them. When I picked up my brother last year in July, I stopped and just popped by, and because I actually remembered where they live, and they didn't live on the road that I was skating on, but I was like, I think if I go this way, and I was able to remember where they live, even though I didn't know their address.
Like internal compass.
That's fucked. I would not be able to do that at all.
I'm pretty good.
Get it back to my house.
I hear that men have like a better internal compass than women or something.
Yeah, because of hunting and stuff like that, being able to, and also judge distances. That's why we're better at driving.
Yeah. Oh, now we're just being.
No, it's like legit. That you only see a couple NASCAR drivers that are women, like compared to.
The women's rights movement's gonna shit on us now.
No, it's just
we're all equal.
Well, the thing is, like,
the same physical
women talk about them being able to multitask, where like, so like they got those advantages.
They got their thing, we got ours.
Yeah,
they're better at doing.
You can't have everything.
They make better sandwiches.
Well, it is proven that sandwiches taste better when someone else makes it. So
I thought
it's actually proven.
Oh yeah,
all
true.
food tastes
true.
better.
Yeah,
that is true.
Yep.
That's why.
Don't just.
That's why I don't.
Which is weird.
That's why I don't make food.
I know there is something about getting something brought to your doorstep that makes it just that much tastier.
Because you didn't have to do jack shit.
Or sometimes it's shittier because it's like, what the fuck? Fucking paid for this. It's fucking tomato sauce on a fucking piece of Italian
What the
bread.
fuck is this? This is a pound of cheese.
This isn't a pound. I got a scale right here. What the fuck?
They should give you a digital scale with every order.
Take a picture. What the fuck is this bullshit?
Calio Insurance.
And tell them, I got a scale here and it better weigh a pound.
Yeah. You probably could do that. And they'd probably...
No, we tried doing that once where we ordered one time at Wes's, we ordered Calios, but only I think only Polly and I got ours pounded and nobody else did. And you could tell there was a significant difference.
Yeah.
But then a week or two later, we all got them pounded and they didn't even look close to the size of the ones. So
they gotta have one that isn't pounded than the one that is, so that they're like, oh, they're gonna be able to tell. Fuck.
Yeah, it's probably who's baking it too.
I wonder what DJ from Calios is up to.
DJ. That's so fucking weird.
I'll tell you that story when we're done.
Word. So I get driven back to where I was from Will and Alicia, and they bring me to a Denny's, and they pay for my meal there, and then we split off, and I'm skating, and I'm literally, I'm in St. Joseph. I can see Kansas. There's this little hill, and it's a little pebbly, and I'm like, oh, you know what? Fuck it. I'll go down this hill. I know I shouldn't. Blah. I got big enough wheels. I start going, and I'm like, oh, I'm going a little too fast. I'll start dragging a foot. And as soon as I start dragging a foot, I hit like a big size pebble, like, I don't know, the size of a nickel or bigger. Stops my wheel, and my backpack weight like goes over my head, and it like I don't even have time to put my hands out to catch myself. Literally, it was just straight face plant, and I was going downhill. The weight of the backpack hit behind me so hard that I didn't skid. I just went into the ground, and frickin' I already seen a bunch of pebbles and glass on the side of the road. And as soon as I fell, immediately, like how I am whenever I'm hurt or like extremely hurt, I get up really quick. Like I'm trying to prove to myself that I'm okay.
Yeah.
Or like
it's like when a football player takes a big hit, he's got to pop back
stand
up
real
real
quick.
Yeah.
And then you see him, he lays back down. He's actually fucked or whatever. Yeah, that's how I am usually. And so I get up. I was wearing sunglasses, and the sunglasses broke on the side of my face here. I had cuts here, around here. I had cuts on the back of my ear because when I fell, like I scraped on my ear like this way. So I had scrapes behind my ear. That was fun picking. And just I was missing part of my hair right here, and it scraped some of that off, and a little on my face, nicks here. I pick up my sunglasses, and there's only one lens, and I'm like using it as there's blood going into my eye and stuff. And I'm trying to use it as a mirror, seeing if there's any glass in my face. And I'm like, all right, I can't tell. There's just too much blood in my eye and stuff. So I start going down the rest of the hill, and there's like a exit where it will loop around, and then I went under the bridge, and then the exit, and then the exit loops around, so then you'd go over the bridge or whatever, you know. Rather than walking all the way around, I just walk up the hill, get right up on top of the bridge. I start knocking on doors. This guy pulls up behind me, and he saw me fall. And he's like, hey, man, do you need a ride? And I'm like, I don't think I need to go to the hospital. I think I'm good. And he's like, no, I wouldn't take you to the hospital if you needed to. Do you need a ride anywhere?
What?
Yeah, like that confused me, like right there. I was just like, what the fuck?
He would only take you to the hospital if you didn't need to go.
Yeah. And like,
yeah, you should have said you didn't need to.
Well, I'm looking for a place to camp. And he's like, yeah, I know a place to camp, my couch. And he brings me to his house, and he gives me like a bunch of like Epsom salt baths, like, you know, like actual bath salts.
Yeah.
And gives me those, and I got to take a relaxing bath. And I got to heal up there for a couple days. And fucking my hands were all scraped up. And so I had a hard time picking up my backpack and stuff. And I wrapped up my hands. I look like a boxer and stuff like that. Black eye and everything. Scraped up face. And the dude that let me into his apartment, he recently let his dog go to somebody else. Like, they said that they had a property and stuff like that. And they didn't. They lived in like an apartment complex. And he was like, yo, I gotta take the dog back. And he was only gonna let him take the dog back if he gave him $100. So he asked me if he could borrow $100. And I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. And I give him $100. And to get his dog back,
borrow $100.
Yeah. Well, he actually
Didn't he pay for your ticket?
Yep, he paid for my ticket to come back. So that was a $160 ticket. So he paid for that.
Yeah, that's right.
So
okay.
so I ended up it ended up working out for me, and so that was really cool. And his wife was pregnant, and she was going to work at Walmart, and his wife's sister.
Was she like, I'll see you later, honey. I'm going to go fuck up a guy's tent? I'm on tent duty today.
I'm going to the big tent blowout sale.
And frickin' her little sister comes over, and it was pretty weird because the guy, Josh, started tying up her little sister. So his sister-in-law starts tying her up in like some like bondage things, like where you have the pentagram across the chest and stuff. He was like, here, take off your clothes, and like she was only in her bra and like her underwear and shit like that, and like he was tying her up and like picking her up and stuff like that. It was kind of creepy. It was kind of creepy. And I'm just sitting there like, what the fuck? Like, all right,
was she hot?
Yeah, she was pretty. Yeah, but
that's all.
The weird thing was she was 17, so it was kind of like, this is a little questionable, but all right, no nips or anything. All right, whatever.
Should have stayed there for a year.
So that was.
Can I hang out here for like a year? When's your birthday?
Yeah, it was pretty awkward. So I get going. Oh, actually, how are we doing on time? Would that be a good place to stop?
Sure, if we want to. I'm at 46 minutes.
Okay. Well, I am just about to go into Kansas, so.
Okay.
Yeah. Boom.
We'll go ahead and cut that.
Carry on my wayward son. There'll be peace when you are done.
Clear Shots Podcast is available on any of your favorite podcasting websites or applications. You can check us out at clearshotspodcast.com to hear any of the episodes. Also, follow us on Facebook. I think it's facebook.com/clearshotspodcast to get there. And you can also check us out on Twitter at clearshotspod. Thank you for listening, and we will see you next time.